Up first, new information from a recent waste milk study. Cindy Zimmerman has more.
Feeding pasteurized waste milk to dairy calves seems to make some good economic sense, according to recent research conducted by University of Minnesota veterinary professor Dr. Sarah Godden. The study compared the performance of calves fed pasteurized waste milk to those fed commercial milk replacers.
We set out to design a study to test whether or not feeding pasteurized waste milk to dairy calves was an economically viable strategy for feeding dairy calves, and we also wanted to document the health and performance of these calves. The short-term outcomes that we wanted to document were things like growth rate, treatment risk or mortality risk or death loss in the pre-weaning period. That's the period between birth and roughly 6 to 8 weeks of age. But we had a longer-term goal as well. We wanted to know if feeding pasteurized waste milk would control the transmission of Johne's disease, as Johne's disease can be shed in the milk from some infected cattle. And so the long-term objective of this study was to follow the calves from this study on up until adulthood and then test them as adults to see if, in fact, they were at higher risk for contracting Johne's disease as compared to calves in the control group. And for our study, we picked calves fed conventional milk replacer feeding program as the control group.
Godden says the study included a total of 438 calves.
The calves in the study were born on a large dairy, an 800-cow dairy in central Minnesota. Between 0 and 6 hours of birth, they were all fed 1 gallon or 4 quarts of colostrum. And then between 1 and 2 days of age, they were transported to a professional dairy heifer grower about 30 minutes away. On arrival to the heifer grower operation, the calves were weighed, and then they were systematically assigned, every other calf, to be fed either a commercial 2020 milk replacer program or a pasteurized waste milk feeding program until they were weaned.
The results of the study surprised the researchers.
We expected to see no difference in growth or health for the calves fed the pasteurized waste milk versus the 2020 milk replacer program. But in fact, there were large differences that surprised us and the dairymen both. What we saw were, first of all, average daily gains or growth rate in that pre-weaning period was significantly greater for calves fed the pasteurized waste milk as compared to calves fed the 2020 milk replacer feeding program. The average daily gain for calves fed the 2020 milk replacer program was approximately 3/4 of a pound per day, as compared to the average daily gain for calves fed pasteurized waste milk was a full 1 pound gain per day. So we had roughly a 1/4 pound advantage in the average daily gain for the calves fed the pasteurized waste milk. And this is not unexpected, given that the nutrient density in whole milk is significantly higher than the nutrient density or nutrient intake level for the 2020 milk replacer.